Every singer on the planet wants to have better high notes, right? Some of you are still working to open up the top parts of your range. Others are already singing high notes, but for some reason they're just not very exciting. I'm going to tell you the top 12 problems and solutions that I often hear in high notes. So you better get your notebooks out because this is going to be another intense video. Welcome back to another edition of Victoria's Vocal Tips. 30 years of teaching voice, 42 years of studying voice, all different styles. I take serious vocal technique and make it simple and fun. So I wanted to make this video the top 3 problems that I hear in high notes. But then I thought, well, wait a minute. It's a lot more than 3. Maybe I'll make it 6. Then I got to thinking again. I thought, well, what about the poor singers that aren't included in these top 6? What if they have other issues? So my friends, this is going to be the top 12 issues that I hear in high notes. I could teach an entire day's course on this subject, but I'm going to compact it all into one video. I'm going to be referring to a lot of my other videos, so make sure you see the description below for further study. First issue, lack of proper support. It generally takes more support as we sing higher because, think of it, we're asking our vocal folds to stay together in a range that is much different than where we speak. So if we don't support enough, those vocal folds are going to want to come apart. And that's not a bad thing. That's just what nature does. Now, how much support you give depends upon the sound you want. But generally, yes, it takes more support to keep those vocal folds vibrating and closing properly in the upper register. Second problem, too much breath, overflowing the vocal folds. It generally takes less air, not more air, as we sing higher because, like I said, those vocal folds are going to want to come apart and you have to keep them together. So if you're blowing too much air, you're just helping your vocal folds to blow apart. Third issue, too little air. Some of you are starving the vocal folds. You're holding your breath as you get higher. That is death to the high notes. We don't want to overblow, but there has to be this fine stream of air, kind of a cushion to the tone. Too much air is going to spread your vowel. Too little air is going to put you into the reach and squeeze, the enemy of the singer. Let's start with our first easy exercise, the O siren. I'm doing O today, spoken siren, like this. Oh, or it could be up here. Oh, you want to feel that voice just gliding into the top, and you see, it doesn't take more air, or else you're going to just blow your voice out. Here we go. Let's do it 2 times. Oh, or high voices. Oh, easy. You see, you have to have the right kind of exercises and you have to approach your exercises correctly. That's why, friends, I recommend that you get my audio exercise program, Victoria's Vocal Exercise Program, where I give you targeted exercises for whatever your vocal needs are. Plus, I am going to do periodic group classes for members. So see all the details in the description below. The fourth problem, pushing up too much vocal weight. You've heard me say this many times. Those vocal folds have to stretch and thin if you hope to have good high notes. Otherwise, you are just shoving and shouting your voice to the top and you will have a low lid. Work on your mixed voice and your passaggio with the goal of having one smooth voice from bottom to top and back down again. Quickly into our O siren again and feel those vocal folds stretching and thinning. Yes, you can feel it if you really are attuned to it. Here we go. Oh, great. Doesn't it feel like it just glides into the top? That's what high singing should feel like. The fifth issue, not the right amount of space in the back of the throat. If you have too much space, you are actually over-opening and hyperextending and that will tend to diffuse the tone and make you tight. Too little space is going to put you into the squeeze. I highly recommend that you start incorporating listening to yourself during your practice by cupping your ears either this way or this way, okay? And you will hear your voice bouncing off of either the front walls or the back walls behind you. It's an excellent way to get immediate feedback on your singing and for you to learn to be your own voice teacher in between these lessons. You can hear when a tone starts to get diffused and spread because it'll be like this, ah, ah, rather than ah, ah, ah. We want focused tones. You can certainly hear a tight voice, ah, ah, okay, and it's not going to feel good. We always need some space between the molars because, like I say, you don't sing between your teeth. Sixth problem, improper jaw position. I see many singers whose jaws get tight when they sing, and so they go from this to, and the jaw gets rigid and doesn't move. If that jaw comes forward, it actually separates the vocal folds. If the jaw is tight, well, the vocal folds don't vibrate freely. So check your jaw position. The jaw should wrap slightly down and back. Not pushed back, but certainly not pushed forward. Okay? You can even use your index finger as a guide while you sing. Number 7, incorrect tongue position. Your default position for your tongue on all vowels is the tip of the tongue behind your bottom front teeth, or some people's tongues are longer than on the gum slightly below, but not bunched up and pulled back because that's going to kill your high notes. Now, yes, there are exceptions for style, but this is your rule as your default. Many times I'll hear a singer with high notes and it sounds like they have tissue paper in the back of the throat because they're like this. Oh, okay, that's choking on your own voice. Also, and this is huge, we never push the tongue down flat. That is going to immediately put pressure on your larynx and is going to rob you of your high notes. We always sing with a natural tongue hump, and as we ascend in pitch, often that tongue hump will just be a little bit higher. The tongue acts as a rudder for the sound. So we don't want that tongue to be hiked up, and we certainly don't want it to be pushed down. So let's do that easy O siren again. And you're going to feel the ease and think about what your tongue is doing. And don't let it flatten and don't let it jump up. Here we go. Oh! Or higher voices. Oh! My tongue just rested in the bed of my mouth. Number 8, incorrect vowel shape. Again, this depends upon what kind of sound you want. But so often I hear singers in the high notes and they're grinning and spreading their vowels like this. Ah, ah. Or sometimes I see singers going the opposite way and they pull their lip down like this. Okay, both extremes are wrong. If you want a brighter tone, then you want a wider mouth shape. If you want a darker tone, then a more vertical oval mouth shape. Right now, let's cup our ears again, and we're just going to speak ah at a relatively high pitch, but we're going to play around with our mouth shape. Let me do it first. Ah! Here we go, any pitch, here we go. Ah! You hear how the sound changes? Ah, bright, ah, dark. Depends what kind of sound you want when you sing. What about if we pull our top lip down like this? Ah! Let's give it a try. Ah! What did that do? Oh, it muffled the tone. But some of you sing like that. So the vowel shape is so important because we sing on vowels, and every single little thing we do affects the tone. So as you're probably realizing, everything in singing works together. So if my mouth is too wide, oh, I might be tempted to compensate for that by pushing my jaw forward, or maybe the sound is too bright and then I might wind up pushing the tongue down. All these things are going to ruin your high notes. And don't forget the opposite is true too. Some of you purse your lips like this, okay, on a high note, and all that's going to do is make you tight. So let's go back to our siren again on ah. I want you to feel what happens to the vowel as we ascend. How does that vowel migrate? And just so that we are all on the same page, we are using the vowel ah, A-H. So here we go. Ah. Or how about in the high voices? Ah. Did you notice anything? In my voice, my ah vowel migrated to an aw vowel as I ascended because I gave a little bit more space to keep my throat free. Now, some of you may want to migrate to an aw, others may want to migrate to an Some of you may not even need to think about vowel modification, but we need that throat to stay free because we don't want that larynx to jump up, and that's going to be the next issue. Larynx too high or too low. When we do these sirens, I hope that you experience your larynx simply floating and not jumping up as we go higher and not being pushed down. Singing with the larynx too high for too long a period of time is very tiring to the voice. And singing with the larynx pushed down with the tongue, that's a depressed larynx, is going to make you sound woofy, woolly, less sound with more work. Quick siren again on ah, please, and let that larynx float, and remember to support with your upper and lower abdominals. Here we go. Ah. Great. Number 10, another killer for high notes is the deadpan facial expression. What does that mean? You don't see any singer with good high notes singing like this. No, they're all like this. High notes are exciting, and you can't sing with good high notes if your face is dropped, if you have no lift in the cushions of the cheeks, if your mouth is turned down, and you have no twinkle in the eyes. We have two more issues to discuss. Number 11, lack of upper resonance. A voice without ring is dull. Sometimes I say it sounds dead. High notes need ring, ping, clarity. Even if you want a flutier sound, there's got to be some shine, or else those are wasted high notes. So let's do our siren again on either an M, or an N, or an NG. And you're going to feel that buzz in the bridge of the nose and in the cheekbones. And then we're going to talk about what to do after that. So here we go. Or N. Or NG. Now when you open up to the vowel, you need to arch the soft palate appropriately so that you don't sound nasal. So let's do our ascending descending siren again. First we're going to do it on M or N or NG, and then we're going to open to the O vowel. So it's going to be like this. Oh, here we go. Oh, good. You followed that buzz, but the goal was not nasality. The goal is to sing with upper resonance, yes, ring and ping, and your nice and free open throat. I have tons of videos on all of this. Like I said, everything will be in the description below. Upper resonance will make your high notes more exciting. It will give them more fire and sizzle. And final issue is lack of preparation before the high note. I see this all the time in singers. They think about the high note as they're singing the high note, but by then it's too late because you're already singing it. So you have to prepare for the high note before you get there. We did that beautifully in the glide. You don't go, ah, no, ah. That throat prepares itself. Your body prepares itself. Those vocal folds stretch and thin as you get higher, and then they shorten and thicken as you get lower. If you don't prepare for the high notes, your high notes will probably be weak because you have nothing to anchor off of. And if you're singing a nice vocal line that starts from lower middle voice and goes higher, then allow some momentum to help you get over the top. Otherwise, it's like riding a bicycle and then letting go before you get to the top of the hill. Now, I want to play you 2 excerpts of my own songs in a video with high notes, and I want you to listen to my approach to the high notes and how I supported all the way through the high notes and did not give up in the middle. If you give up your support in the middle of the high note, your high notes are going to fall apart. How I use lots of resonance to help build up before those high notes and how those high notes have sizzled. I told you this was going to be intense. 12 problems and solutions. And like I always do, I said we were going to do 2 exercises, but we actually did more like 4. It is now time for Victoria's Wisdom. High notes are fun and exciting, both for your audience and for you. There's a reason why they're called the money notes. I hope you have enjoyed another edition of Victoria's Vocal Tips. Don't forget to subscribe, tell your friends, leave me some comments, leave me some thumbs up, and keep working on extending little by little into your high notes, following all of the 12 things that we discussed, and pretty soon your high notes will be exciting and sizzling. I look forward to seeing everyone again very soon.